Hi.
Hello.
Paranormal Pixies here. I'm Blade.
I'm Rhonda.
And I have to say a shout out to some of our little viewers
Okay.
who have come up to me a few times and told me about things that they thought was really fun. So, Alonzo and his younger brother, Aiden.
Oh.
Hi.
Hello.
So, they're funny.
Yeah. I haven't really met anyone that watches yet. So, but
I have a bunch of people at work that are watching it, so.
okay.
Yep. So Lisa and Anna and all you guys, howdy. So we decided this week we're going to talk about Greek mythology. So, which was really funny because I asked Alonzo, because I know he watches.
Yeah.
Some of the things that he would be interested in seeing, and he had a lot of Greek stuff down.
Cool.
So my particular favorite one was the half-man bull thing. Minotaur.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So, you were saying you don't know a lot about Greek mythology.
Right.
What do you think, what do you know about it?
Well, I mean, I know, things like Medusa and, that kind of thing that probably the average person might know.
Okay. So, there are 12 Olympians. They were not the first. I mean, we've watched things like, Hercules from Disney and,
Right.
The Percy Jackson
Yeah.
mythology and the whole Clash of the Titans, the old and the new.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what the old ones are, those were the ones with Harry Hamill in it.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It was actually a pretty good movie for when it was made.
yes,
Yeah.
actually it was. So, there's the Titans, which were there before the Olympians.
Yeah.
And there was a big battle, and they were thrown down into Tartarus and imprisoned down there. Saturn was Zeus's father.
Okay.
And Rhea or Gaia was their mother. Okay. And apparently there was this belief that he was going to be overthrown by one of his offspring, so he decided to eat them.
Okay.
And when they were born.
Is the phone leaning? Because couldn't you see more of us
It's
before? I'm like, wait a minute.
There we go. Anyway,
That's
so essentially she didn't want all of her kids eaten. So she decided in place of Zeus she wrapped up a foal or a stone. In other words, he didn't eat Zeus. She hid him. And therefore she gave him some concoction, and he wound up throwing up all the kids. The other one is Zeus as a baby, cut his stomach open, and all of them tumbled out. I mean, there's different versions of how the rest of the gods came to be, the Olympians. So, there's 12 Olympians.
Right.
Do you know some of the names of them?
Probably.
Okay. So, we have the Greek mythology coloring book, as I am being graciously cleaned here and loved by my little snubble bubble muffin man here, the monkey. Okay, this way, boo boo. His mama wants to talk. Little love muffin. So, what we have is Zeus. Okay, and Zeus, he's the king of the Olympians.
Okay.
Okay. Essentially, him and his two brothers. There's him, Hades, and depending on which one you go for, in Greek it's Poseidon. And but those are the three brothers, and they divided the worlds up.
Okay.
So he got pretty much the top of Earth and the clouds and all that. Hades got the interior of the Earth, okay, and Poseidon got the oceans.
Okay.
And those are their kingdoms. So he is a storm god. His symbol is a lightning bolt.
Right.
And he was a bit of a player.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of myths stem from his many affairs with not only other goddesses, but with human women. Yes, yes. And I have written down in this in Roman mythology, he's known as Jupiter. So he's the first one. Okay. The next one is his wife, Hera. And she's the queen of Olympus. Of course, she is not particularly happy about all his little affairs and his being a player. And she is very vengeful.
That's why she didn't like Hercules.
Right. Because he's a demigod. Demigods were half human, half god. And, but essentially, she is the mother goddess. She is the one that they go to for all the motherly stuff. Oh, please, I love you. Okay. And her symbol is a peacock. She is also the sister to Demeter and Hestia, which we will go over those. She's also known as Juno in Roman mythology.
Okay.
Okay. But she has been known to be very vengeful. She's very judgmental of people. Not particularly nice. Okay, Poseidon, Zeus's brother, is, like I said, he's the god of the oceans. He is also the god of horses.
Okay.
And his symbol is a trident. So these are the Olympians we're talking about. He's known as Neptune. He is not so much into the affairs. It's Thetis is his wife.
Okay.
You don't hear a lot about her because there really isn't a lot of the only real. There's two myths in which he plays a prominent role, and one is the naming of Athens, and the other is in the Odyssey because he feels he has been slighted. He really takes it out on Odysseus.
Okay.
Okay, and that happens after the Trojan War and his 7-year journey of trying to get home. So we get the Odyssey based off of those travels. We also have Demeter, which of course is Hera's sister. And she is the goddess of the harvest. She is a nature, like Mother Nature. That's pretty much what she is. Her symbol is a bundle of wheat. She is Ceres in Roman mythology, and this is where we actually get the term cereal from her name. So when you're eating cereal for breakfast, it's named after the Roman goddess Ceres, who is Demeter in Greek mythology. Okay? And there's a whole thing about her and her daughter and why the seasons are developed. And we'll talk about that when we talk about her daughter. And we talked about Hades. And Hades is the god of the underworld and rules over the dead. Anything in the earth is under his rule. Gems, minerals, ores. So, you know, any kind of necklaces and stuff like that, they're pretty much his. Because it's made out of metal and it's made out of gems. He has a helm of invisibility and a cloak of darkness. He is known as Pluto. And let me see if she's next. Yes. So these two gods are connected. One's a god, one's a goddess. And they're actually also connected to Demeter.
Okay.
So she goes by two names. Originally, her name is Kore, which actually means maiden in Greek.
Okay.
And Kore is Demeter's daughter. And Hades fell in love with her. Love at first sight. Had to have her. So, she's prancing around the daisies. La 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 la. And he sees her. He throws on his cloak and his helm. And he kidnaps her.
Okay.
Takes her to the underworld. Demeter starts searching the world for her daughter because she just loves her daughter that much. She's kind of like the obsessed mom.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot find her. Okay?
Okay.
Finally, somebody figures out, wait a second, we saw this and heard this noise.
Mm-hmm.
And we think Hades has her. So Zeus goes down there to find out what's going on. He goes down to Hades to talk to his or Tartarus, as it's actually called.
Yeah.
Hades is the god. Tartarus is the underworld. And he goes down there to talk to Hades. And Hades is like, nope, she's mine. I want her. I get to keep her. And Demeter is so upset about this that she decides, wait a second. If I can't have my daughter back, then I'm not going to let anything grow. Y'all can just starve.
There you go.
Everybody will starve until I get my daughter back.
Okay.
So a deal was struck. They would return her if she didn't eat anything in the underworld. Not a single piece of fruit. Not a vegetable, not a meal at all. Nothing from the underworld was to be eaten. In the Greek myth, she winds up eating one pomegranate seed. And so Hades is like, well, there you go. She's mine. She ate something. She's mine.
Yeah.
And of course, my doggy just farted.
That's nice.
He said, yeah, sneaky.
You just stay over there, dog.
Anyway, whew. At least this one doesn't burn nose hairs.
Wow.
Anyway, Demeter's like, I'm not going to have it. I don't care if she ate something. I want my daughter back. So they decided, we'll do this. 6 months she'll stay in Tartarus with Hades. And 6 months she'll stay with her mother. And this was a way for the Greeks through myth to explain the seasons. And when it's harvest time and when it isn't.
Yeah.
So when there's a growing period and a non-growing period. Because when Kore is down, there's no growth.
Right.
And when she's up with mom, there is. And she even gets a different name. Her name in the underworld is Persephone.
Okay.
And she is the queen of the underworld along with her husband, Hades. Who in Roman, Hades is Pluto. And she is Prospina. Okay? Now, we've talked about Hestia as a sister of, and I'm going to go to her first. There she is. As a sister to Demeter and to Hera. Hestia originally was one of the 12. She is the goddess of the hearth. She is, her symbols are flames. She's got the eternal fire. And they shed enlightenment. If anybody has looked at any Roman movie, you always hear about the Vestal virgins.
Yeah.
Okay?
Like
Well,
Vesta Part 1.
Right. Well, Vesta is the Roman version of Hestia. And
Okay.
there was the same thing. They were essentially priestesses who had to remain virgins.
Okay.
So, but she felt that it was important that Dionysus become one of the 12.
Okay.
And so she stepped down from being one of the 12 Olympians. And Dionysus, also in Roman as Bacchus, which is where we get the term Bacchanalia, is the god of wine. He is one of the sons of Zeus. He's got a cluster of grapes that sits and a staff that's topped with a pine cone, which is also a symbol of partying and stuff like that. I always say he's kind of like the party god. What happened was he was actually driven mad at one point. And he also has the Maenads follow him, and there's 9 of those.
Okay.
And they've been known to go into frenzies. There's stories in mythology of the Maenads literally going into such a frenzy that they would tear people apart. So he's kind of like, the rock and roll party god. So he goes on a bunch of journeys in his madness before he settles back with Zeus. So another one is Hephaestus or Vulcan in Roman mythology. Hephaestus was so ugly when he was born that he was thrown off of Olympus and onto Earth, and he became lame because of this. Okay? But they were like, oh, we'll take care of him. He is the one who makes all the weapons and all the treasures of the gods. He builds them. He's like the mechanic. And it's interesting because they decided, they did a fixed marriage. He got Aphrodite as his wife. So the lame, ugly god got the goddess of beauty. Yeah. Okay? So, but you think about the stuff that he's supposed to build, it's just beautiful. Okay, so we got Aphrodite next. Goddess of love and beauty. Like I said, she's Hephaestus' wife. She is not related to any of them. There's no blood relationship. Because essentially she was born from the sea. She was just created. Yeah. And many people have seen Botticelli's Venus Rising, where she's on the seashell, and she's got the hair, and the little cherubs are wrapping stuff around her, and she's got the broken shoulders because her anatomy is way off. But that's seashells are her symbol, as well as roses. In Roman mythology, she is known as Venus. Okay? So, and then we got Ares, one of my favorites. Yeah. Okay?
God of War.
God of War. Ares is a little, he's an id boy. Oh, Lord, come here. Come here, farty. Anyway, he, as I've written down in this, he is young and has anger management issues. Which he truly does. Yeah. He is highly temperamental in their mythologies. Him and Aphrodite are side lovers. Okay? There's actually a story of where Hephaestus got sick of it and put this magical net over her couch, which is a bed. Yeah. And Ares decided to pay a visit, and the two of them got trapped in this net, and Hephaestus pretty much paraded everybody in to see them in this compromising position. Okay. So, but he's known as Mars in Roman mythology. There are a number of things about him, like he and Athena tend to have an issue because they're both gods of war. But they are different aspects of war. Right. He is more the violence and the bloodthirst and the carnage of war is what Ares represents. So, you like my picture of him? I'm just going nutso. Okay. This is not one of the, she's not Olympian. Yeah. Hecate is the goddess of the witches. Okay? She is a primal earth magic goddess. She can come in any shape, form, size. There's the story because she does have a cauldron, and she has wolves that hang out with her. would you please stop? Mm-hmm. So, but she is definitely a contender in the mythologies.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Our trickster god, one of my favorites, is Hermes. Hermes from birth has been a trickster. He actually stole some of Apollo's cows, and he's the one who created the lyre, which later on Apollo adopted as his instrument. Hermes is he has the sandals with the little wings on them, and he has the winged helmet,
right.
And the caduceus is his symbol, which is the winged staff with the serpents winding around it, which a lot of people look at as a medical symbol.
Right.
And really what it is one of his sons is actually considered the god of medicine. So he's also known as Mercury. He is the messenger and cupbearer for Zeus.
Okay.
So that's why you'll see, like in this picture, I'm not showing the pictures today, but you'll see what I try to do is always have some of the little symbolism. And in any of my mythology coloring books, there are elements within the drawings that represent those gods. So, you like that one? He's got his little iPad. Everybody laughs. It's an owl.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
But that's not what they see.
Of course
At
not.
first. Okay. So our next one is Athena. And Athena is, they say an Athena child is anyone whose father favors them, and they grow up to be like a tomboy, strong-willed, stuff like that. Those tend to be referred to as Athena children. Okay, Athena wasn't born naturally. Okay, apparently Zeus had an issue with mom and decided to, who was not Hera, and decided to eat her. They like to just devour each other, apparently. And what happened is he was walking along one day and his head started hurting him really bad. To the point where he wound up cracking it open, and Athena leapt out, fully armored, screaming, fully grown as a woman. Okay? She is the goddess of wisdom and battle strategy.
Okay.
So she is a war goddess, but it's more the strategic nature, the planning, the executing, the where things go, how to get our little soldiers all where they need to be. And of course, Athens is named after her. So the myth about Athens and its naming was they invited the gods because they didn't know who was going to be the patron god or goddess of this city. And so they had a contest, and two gods decided to battle it out. It was Poseidon and Athena. So he presented a horse and a stream, and she presented an olive tree.
Okay.
And they looked at it and they were like, well, the horse is nice, the stream is nice, but the olive, we can press oil from it, we can eat these, we can use these for shade. There was a multi-purpose to it.
Right.
So they decided that the olive tree was far more functional for them than this little stream and a horse.
Right.
So they decided, we're taking Athena as our patron. Which, of course, Poseidon wasn't particularly happy about. So he just was like... But symbols are the owl, her helmet, and and a spear, and she has a shield with Medusa's face on it. She helps Perseus defeat Medusa.
Okay.
So she gets, Hermes to give him his shoes, and she provides him with the helmet and provides him with a shield that will cause the reflection in that myth.
Okay.
She is, like I said, the goddess of wisdom. It was, let me think, who all was it? It was her, I want to say Artemis, and Aphrodite with the whole Trojan War mythology, where they were at a wedding for one of the lesser gods and one of the sea nymphs, and somebody decided to throw a wrench in there and rolled a golden apple and said, "To the most beautiful goddess," and Paris picks it up. And it's like these three goddesses are like, okay, who are you going to give it to? Who are you going to give it to? And he chose Aphrodite, and through Aphrodite is how he got Helen of Troy, which of course caused the whole war because she was married to another man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it was Menelaus, I believe she was married to. So anyway, she is a daddy's girl. She's one of my favorites. She is definitely a goddess of wisdom and strategy. So, okay, and she is an Olympian. Our other two are the twins. We have the divine twins. Artemis, who is the goddess of the moon and the hunt, and her twin brother, Apollo, who is the sun god and the arts. So after Hermes creates a lyre, he kind of gives Hermes a let go over the whole cattle theft thing.
Yeah.
By, Hermes giving him the lyre.
Okay.
So poetry, songs, those all fall under Apollo. There was an original sun god named Hyperion, who drove the chariot of the sun.
Okay.
They are not the same god. One is actually the sun, and the other one represents the sun. Okay. In other words, it's his beauty and stuff that has such a glow, and he represents the daytime, and then she represents the other part of it.
Okay. The
more primal, the hunt kind of thing, and nighttime. She is one of the virgin goddesses.
Okay.
Artemis, or Athena, is also a virgin goddess.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who it was. There was a human who accidentally, this happens a lot too, accidentally witnessed Artemis bathing naked. So she turned him into a stag and had her hounds run him down and tear him apart. Yeah. They do that a lot in Greek mythology. So,
2 minutes here.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to go through this as fast as I can. So we have Hercules, who is, of course, a demigod. He had 12 labors. So one of the major labors was the Nemean lion, which is where he gets his cowl. He wears the lion's skin because it is impenetrable. The way he got rid of this lion was to strangle it. So, and of course, Hera, he's named in honor of Hera. Heracles is the Greek and Hercules is the Roman.
Right.
And actually, it's said that Zeus decided to have him breastfeed on Hera, and he bit her, and that's how the Milky Way was created.
Okay.
Medusa.
Yeah.
The snake lady.
Knows who Medusa is.
Okay. Medusa was a priestess. Okay. So the Gorgons were three sisters. Okay. And it was Medusa and her two sisters. And they give the names in the Greek mythology, but nobody ever remembers them. Because they're Gorgons. They're priestesses. Right. So anyway, Athena, being a virgin goddess, expected the same thing of her priestesses. No hanky-panky. Well, Poseidon took a liking to her. Okay? And Poseidon decided to take advantage of her on the couch in the temple.
Okay.
And I don't agree with this, but you got to remember how it was viewed during those times. They decided instead of punishing Poseidon, Athena punished her. like she had any control over what happened to her.
Right.
And the punishment is because she was so beautiful, now she became so ugly that anybody looking at her would turn to stone.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we get Perseus coming in with Athena's help, killing her, and she essentially, if anybody's seen any of the movies, the myths, the Medusa is the one with all the snakes in her hair and all the fangs, and you know. Okay, Cyclops. I love Cyclops. They are the sons of Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
And the one in the Odyssey, Polyphemus, is the one who they blind and decide to ride on the bellies of his sheep as they try to escape out of his thing because he was eating everybody. Again. I'm not going to go over Naiads. They are essentially like mermaids.
Yeah.
Okay, the bull man thing is the Minotaur.
Yeah.
And we're going to go over that really quick. I mean, it's almost time is almost up. So, the Minotaur was a son of the wife of Minos of Crete.
Mm-hmm.
She took a liking to a bull, and in the myth, these things happen in Greek mythology. But anyway, she got pregnant and had the Minotaur, and they locked him away in a maze. And essentially, there was a thing that was going on with them in Athens, and Athens had to send 7 girls and 7 boys, virgins all, into the maze once a year for the Minotaur to have a banquet. Well, Theseus was the son of the king at that time, and with the help of Minos' daughter, he was given a ball of twine when he went into the maze, and a sword. They hid his sword in there, and he was able to defeat the Minotaur. Mm-hmm. So, half man, half bull. And then, I'm not going to go over the Lamia. Centaurs are the half man, half horse. Mm-hmm. Hercules was taught by Charon, who was a centaur chieftain. A harpy, they're not very happy things. They're like bird women. They're ugly. They're daughters of Echidna, who is the mother of all monsters. You see them tormenting Phineas, mm-hmm. who essentially helped out Jason and the Argonauts on their way to get the Golden Fleece. Mm-hmm. And actually, it's Jason who helped get rid of them. Satyrs and dryads. Satyrs are also known as fauns. The god Pan mm-hmm. is their leader, and he is one of the only gods to have died. Mm. There's this thing where, I guess it was like in 1950,